Man, I woke up and I seen a 6 in front of the temperature and I was like, fat boy season is well on its way, man. Fall kind of made a sneak and peek early appearance here in North Carolina, and I, for one, am excited about it because that means hoodie season is back in session. So that means I get to pull out, you know what I'm saying, those fall fragrances like bam! You know what I'm saying? That new release from Afnan, we have 9PM Elixir. And this is good. I just think a lot of y'all got this one wrong. Surprisingly, I'm gonna talk about this. This definitely is good. It's worth the pickup, but a lot of people are describing this in the wrong way. We're gonna talk about it. Let's go ahead, jump right into the video. Yo, what's going on, party people, fat boy family? I hope you guys are having an amazing day. You've had an amazing start to August, man. The year is moving right along. We got like 4 months left, you know what I'm saying, in 2025. Nonetheless, if this is your first time watching, I appreciate you coming through. Definitely feel free, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. While you're at it, go ahead and click the bell to be notified every single time I post new content to the channel. But let's go ahead and jump right into today's conversation. Again, we're going to be talking about the latest release from the house of Afnan. We have 9PM Elixir. This is a beautifully well done, warm, spicy, aromatic vanilla fragrance that actually has some freshness and some spiciness to it that is gonna make this more versatile than you even would think. Like I said, this is gonna be perfect for cooler weather, but the way they were able to pull off the level of fresh and spiciness in here, you can also get away with this in the summertime when it's not like crazy hot outside, you know, 80 degrees. If you see a 9, don't wear this, but if you see low 80s, you can get away with this as well, springtime as well. But again, I mean, just looking at the bottle color, it's definitely gonna shine bright in the fall, winter, the cooler months. I specifically got mine directly from Afnan. They didn't send it to me. I did order it. JOMASHOP, I think, was the first one to have it. It was like $60. I was like, there's no way I'm paying $60 for what I thought was more of a clone or an inspired take. At the time, Afnan was actually selling it for $50, and then I think I had like this 15% off coupon that actually took it down. It like took like $7, almost $8 off of it. So I ended up paying like $43 before shipping or whatever with that. And the shipping actually wasn't that bad either. I think ultimately, I think I ended up paying like $50 or whatever. But right now, I feel like it may be sold out everywhere. I'm gonna try to post some links down in the description of where you can get it, who has it. Fragrant Villa, who I'm not familiar with personally. Fragrance X, I think, has it, but the price is so astronomically cheap. I'm like, what is going on? Nonetheless, let's go ahead and jump right into the presentation. This is the box. This is the box, typical Afnan box that you get. You know, you see that brown color and it's like, you know what time it is. I think one of the dopest things with Afnan is that hieroglyphic, you know what I'm saying, sticker that they have. Like, it's so dope. You got the batch code information, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Box slips off like that. And then you actually have the design, the same design that's on the bottle. And then you have the accords, the notes or whatever that are on the bottom, so you can see that. And then you just have crafted by Afnan on the inside. So it's not really a box or something like that that we probably gonna keep or whatever, but you see the pattern that's right there. All right, and then here we go. You can see that same pattern. Hopefully you can tell the details are actually on the bottle. And this is a dope looking bottle. This color, and it's raised, so there is some texture there that you can actually feel. And just this brown, this dark brown and gold combination is just super fire, man. Just screams cold weather. Of course, you know, Afnan has been putting on their recent bottles. I think they did this with Rebel as well. I wonder if they've made so many bottles of like 9PM and 9PM Dive and all the other ones, whether they would go back and start putting the logo on top. But there you go right there. That's on the cap. And then you have Afnan here on the actual top of the atomizer as well. All right, and speaking of atomizer, let's go ahead and show you that. Nothing to write home about. Decent, not really pressurized, but straightforward, nice distribution on that. And so I got this in last week, got a chance to wear it over the weekend. So this is kind of a review mixed with first impression or whatever, but we have spent enough time with this where I think, you know, of course it's going to get better. We're going to see what the performance is better, but initially we kind of know what this is doing. All right, I'm going to go through the notes real quick. I'm going to go ahead because part of why I said I think people have this wrong, this is where this is going to come out at. All right, so let's go ahead and go through the notes, and you should see this on screen right now. So in the top, you have the star of the show, which is cardamom. I love cardamom. It's oddly enough, we're talking about this fragrance because you know my top 2 fragrances of all time. You have either 1 Million Lucky, but what's the other one? If you've been following me, you know, Lamel, whatever you want to say. I say Lamel because I think this is how every man should smell. Lamel Le Parfum. Cardamom is the star of the show. But then you get this nice bright nutmeg and elemi that really kind of brings out, you know, I would say it gives a level of this freshness that's like, you know, you wouldn't necessarily expect that. So you got cardamom, nutmeg, and elemi in the top. All right, in the middle, you get pimento, leather, and lavender. All right, so this is where the fragrance, as we start to work our way from the opening to the dry down, we start to get a little darker, slightly more resinous. I can smell the slightest bit of the pimento, but it's not like spicy. Like, even though this is characterized as a warm, spicy fragrance, the pimento combined with the elemi and the lavender almost give this more of a fresh style of spiciness. You know, you get the warmth that comes in from the cardamom. I do not get a lot of leather in this. The leather here is very, very, very slight to my nose. Now, again, I know fragrance is super. I'm sorry if y'all can hear that. I know fragrance is super subjective. All right. To me, I do like the leather is sitting way in the background for me. All right. That's me. But the lavender, I definitely get that. The pimento, I smell it, but it doesn't come across like, it kind of reminds me of the pimento in Hypnotic Fire. Yeah, that's yeah. It kind of reminds me of the pimento there, where it's a little dialed back. I think it's the EDP, not that parfum that everyone loves, the one that, you know, everybody says, you know, Hypnotizing Fire. I say Hypnotic Fire, Hypnotizing Fire, that Kevin, you know what I'm saying, Samuels was the one hype about, but the EDP, we talked about that on the channel, where it's not like super spicy, but you can like smell it. It kind of puts me in the mind of that. And then in the base, to me, which is where people are getting this wrong and this fragrance really shines, vanilla, patchouli, I don't get any of that, labdanum, and rock rose. So to me, if the patchouli is there, it's kind of helping continue to lift the fragrance. And it's going to make sense why I say that. Labdanum, you know, which can sometimes give off a leather feel as well. Again, I don't really get leather from this. And then that rock rose to bring in some of that freshness or whatever. So you get the woodiness, the fresh spiciness, that, you know, there is definitely more aromatic than you would think, which is why I say this is a lot more versatile. A lot of people, and I'm going to say this because you guys know I love to give context. A lot of people are relating this to Lamel Elixir Absolute. This right here. This is what they're relating this to. Almost, I've heard a couple of people say this is more of a clone of this, an inspired take of this. I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong. I think this is why you have to be careful. I've been talking about being a fragrance reviewer. You have to be careful because I think what happens is we rush to be first and we don't do our due diligence. And even though fragrance is subjective, we smell things and we're like, oh my God, I know what that is. But we don't work or live with the fragrance long enough to really kind of feel what's going on. And then we do not do our due diligence because we hear one person say one thing and it changes our mind. And we're like, this is why when there are new releases, I really try not to watch those videos because I don't want to be inspired or influenced. I don't want my nose. There are situations where you can smell certain things because somebody else said it smells like that. All right. Now, you want to know how I know that? Because when I first sprayed this, I was like, oh, I can see that. But then as I got to the dry down, I was like, nah, we got this one wrong. This fragrance right here is a true flanker to this. And I may be the first person to say that. I may not be the first person to say that. This is the original Afnan 9PM, which people know is one of the greatest clones of all time of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Ultramel. All right, Ultramel. People don't even buy Ultramall anymore. People actually buy this one. There's a level of sweetness and freshness that comes from the vanilla in this fragrance that is absolutely intoxicating. What I think is that they took the profile for this and then they say, okay, let's make something true to fall, to the cooler months, and let's bring in another popular profile, that Lamel Elixir profile, that Absolute profile, and we're gonna bring in some nuances of that so we can make a true elixir. That's what I think happened. People are saying this is more related to this. No, ma'am, no, sir. It's related to this. But if you don't wear the fragrance, if you don't get to the dry down, you don't realize that. In the beginning, are there nuances of the Lamel Elixir, of the Lamel Elixir Absolute? Yeah, but here's the biggest difference. This is honey and this deep, sweet, fruity plum. All right. So you get the nuances there. You get the aspects there where you're like, okay, I can see why they said that. But it's not a clone. I don't even think it's inspired by this. I just think it so happens that because of the notes they put in here, it gives you this perceived, you know what I'm saying, this perception that, oh, they must be cloning this. Do not buy Afnan 9PM Elixir thinking you're getting a clone of this. You're going to get a lot of nuances, and I'm pretty sure there was some inspiration and some influence and going on there. But what you're gonna find out is when this thing dries down, you're gonna be walking around, and what I love is, you know, I was home and we're on the river, we're on the water, and so the wind and the breeze is blowing, and I'm like, man, that smells like 9PM. That smells like the OG, and that's what it smells like. Just a more mature, warm, spicier take. So because this is super playful. This is super playboy, this is club, this is frat boy, this is call center. You know what I'm saying? If you just trying to woo people, whatever, smell great, people, you already know the type of damage that this does. This is a high compliment factor. People love this. But it's a club, it's considered like a clubbing fragrance. What Afnan did is said, let's get more mature. Let's get something that a grown man can wear, that a grown man can dress up. So we might not necessarily be going to the club. We might go to the lounge. And depending on what city you live in, clubs and lounges are the same thing right now. We're going to wear something, you know what I'm saying? We're going to, like, that's perfect for a hoodie, you know, but with that hoodie, I want you to dress it up. You know what I'm saying? And put a pea coat or a trench coat over it or whatever, you know, a long jacket. Let's really dress. That's what they did here. They added more character and they brought in that warmth and that spice. That's the profile that you get. So to me, and as for me and the house of Fat Boy Finesse, this, again, there are some characteristics here that make you say, but I'm like, I would think more Lamel Elixir than Lamel Elixir, you know, Absolute, because Absolute has that plum and it's even sweeter than the original Lamel Elixir. So I'm like, nah, there's the warmth, there's the spiciness there, but the cardamom is really what kind of makes this different, because honey is the star of that show. Cardamom starts off as the star of this show, where I'm like, okay, we're taking a different route. And that's why I say, okay, this is really a true flanker. So it's like if you take Ultramall, and then let's take Ultramall and grow it up. I can actually see Jean-Paul Gaultier coming back and cloning Afnan because of the way they did this. I can see them coming out with the Ultramall Elixir and it still be based on this right here. That's actually what I can see. All right. Performance wise, 7 to 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? On skin. Again, it's early. I'm pretty sure it'll probably get better. It wasn't nuclear or whatever, but I definitely on skin and on clothes. It, like, the shirt I wore the other day, I can still smell it up there. On clothes, nuclear, whatever is going to last all day. You're going to have to wash it off on skin. I noticed about 7-8 hours. Nonetheless, man, the sillage, all of your projection and most of that I got within the first 2 hours. It was nice. It was great. Scent bubble. People are like, oh my God, what's that? You smell good. And then it starts to wane off just a little bit. But mostly, man, the scent profile, the DNO profile, I love. I think it's dope. Again, you're going to sit around and you're going to still, that warm spicy is going to surround it. But then that vanilla is going to start to just, hey, I'm here. Knock. Let me in. Let me in. Like, you're going to smell that vanilla coming through from the original Afnan 9PM, which is that ultra mild DNA knocking on the door. And so that's my 2 cents regarding that. I've been talking too long. Like I said, listen, if you have it, let me know. Am I tripping or do you smell the same? Because I don't want you to say, I want people to stop being afraid that they have their own opinion. Like, it's okay if you don't agree with the top dogs. It's okay if you don't agree with everybody else. It's okay to say, it doesn't really smell like that to me. Are there nuances there? Yeah. But to me, this is a true flanker. And that's why I love it. That's why I dope. I think it's going to be great. I'm appreciative of it, man. So nonetheless, y'all hit them comments, man. Let me know what you think and let me know how you feel. Like I said, I'm going to try to post some links. Fragrant Villa, I think I've heard it straight. I've ordered things from Fragrant X before. So I'm going to post the links of where I can find. Other than that, you know, shop at your own risk. Y'all know how I feel about eBay and certain other places, but I'll see if I can find anybody that's in stock. Like I said, I got mine directly from Afnan. JOMASHOP, I think, is sold out, but we'll see what we can do. Nonetheless, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. While you're at it, go ahead and click the bell so you can be notified every single time I post new content to the channel. But until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Y'all be easy and get them hoodies ready. All right, y'all be easy.